If you've not seen Walking Dead season 7 episode 1, then switch off now. This is going to be spoiler all over it. Just spoilers, 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 spoilers. Get out of here now. Go watch another video. Go watch Walking Dead season 1, season 7 episode 1. Come back and tell me how wrong I am completely. Anyway, so yeah, it was disappointing. It was very good in a way that it was filmed. It hit all the marks. It was just quite disappointing. And these are reasons why. Before you start jumping on my neck and start commenting, please watch the video all the way through, and then you can say how wrong I truly am. All right. And yeah, so Negan was built up. He was built up for like his half a season. There were whispers about him and how bad and how controlling he was. And then we finally meet him, and he was badass. He was a bastard, a complete and utter dickhead. But he's no more different than the governor or the cannibals at Terminus. He's just a generic villain. He's more brutal, he's more sadistic, he's more. He's a bit more evil, but they could have done it a bit more so you hate him much more than you would the governor. And this is how you do it. Instead of killing off Abraham, you kill off one of the females. I know. Even the thought of a woman being beaten up by a baseball bat makes me uneasy. But that's the point. The point is that we want to hate this villain so much more than we did all the other villains that have been on here, and even all the other villains in the TV shows. And so get him to beat up one of the women, not beat, well, bash their heads in. Now this sounds really bad, and you know, you got to think the women in this TV show are independent. They're fierce. They're loyal. They fight side by side with the men. Everything about it is equal rights. And I'm not going down that route because that's a big bag of worms. But all the female deaths have mainly been being shot. They've been eaten by zombies, of course they have, but not as in much detail as some of the men's stuff. And if they just had this one violent moment against a woman, then you would so much hate Negan so much more than you do now. Or this is a fanboy speaking. Swap the sex of Negan. Turn him into a woman, and it would have been whole different thing. And having Negan as a female beating on men and stuff, that would have been as good as well. So yeah, and then have it as one of Abraham's women, and then Abraham's the one that jumps at him instead of Daryl, and it could lead into a whole storyline where Abraham gets taken away, and then he starts thinking, well, I've got no one else to love anymore, no one else to live for. After all his stories becoming aggressive and mean, and then going back to his, oh, maybe we can live life like this. And then one of his women gets killed, and he's like, oh, no, this is how the world should be. And maybe join sides with Negan and see his character develop much more. I feel sad that Abraham's gone because he seems to be killed off just to make a twist. It's like, right, we'll kill off this guy just so nobody thinks that anyone else will die, and then Glenn gets killed. And it just seemed like a waste of a death. No one's going to develop from this. There might be Sasha developing maybe, but I don't think they will. I don't think they'll lead that on to anywhere. His death was quite meaningless. The other death was Glenn. Fantastic job. Both actors did fantastic jobs. Glenn was a sad moment, it was, but he's been dead or near dead for the last so many seasons, and I've mourned him so many times that this actual death didn't really mean much. Like last season, they thought he was dead, but he was underneath the underneath the garbage thing, and he was safe. But everyone thought he was dead, and even for a couple of episodes, he was missing, and we all thought, oh God, is he dead? And then I don't know. We've mourned him too often. And another thing was these deaths was at the very start of the season. It was okay for the wait. It really was, but it's been a year since we've been involved with the characters, and having the death so sudden, we're not as in with the characters as maybe we should have been if it was at the end of the season, or if they had a prequel episode. I don't know if they did this in America. If they had a prequel episode where they did flash like hit points for all the characters that were lined up, and just did how they developed through the series, like how Daryl's storyline like flickered through and Rick's storyline flickered through, and then you'd be at least have one episode where you're back connected with the characters and you remember how they've grown up and everything. So their death would mean a bit much more. But to me personally, it might be different for everybody else. Obviously, we've all got different opinions. To me, I wasn't connected with the characters at that time. I just kind of switched on, and then it was brutality and killing and stuff, and I didn't feel much for the deaths, and that was really bad. Maybe it's just maybe I'm just an emotional twat. You don't know. But yeah, they could have done a lot much more with this episode and a lot more with the series. But it got me to come back. I weren't going to come back. It got me to come back for season 7. So they're doing a good job there. They're getting viewers to come back in. So yeah, great job with the actors. Some of the writing was great. I just think there should have been a bit more, I don't know, sentimentality to it. I don't know. So yeah, no doubt a lot of you will disagree. So comment below and tell me why you thought it was a brilliant episode and why you thought it was so sad. If you do agree with me, that'd be even better because I don't want to be on my own with this one. And yeah, comment, share, all that stuff. This has been a long one shot. And anyway, I'll see you next time.